Very Noisy Night, written by Diana Hendry, and I'm reading this with permission from the publisher, Little Tiger Press. It was the middle of the night, and Big Mouse was fast asleep in his bed. Little Mouse was wide awake in his little bed. Big Mouse, called Little Mouse. I can hear something rushing around the house, huffing and puffing. Big Mouse opened one eye and one ear. It's only the wind, he said. Can I come into your bed, asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse, there isn't any room. And he turned over and went back to sleep. Little Mouse lay listening to the wind. Then suddenly, between a huff and a puff, came a tap, 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 tap. Little Mouse climbed out of bed and opened the front door, just a crack, and peeked out. Whoosh went the wind. There was no one outside. Big Mouse, called Little Mouse. I can hear someone tapping. Perhaps there's a burglar on the roof. Big Mouse got out of bed and opened the bedroom curtains. Look, he said, it's only a branch tapping on the window. Go back to sleep. Can I come into your bed, asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. You wiggle. Little Mouse lay in his bed, listening to the wind huffing and puffing, and the branch tap-tapping, and someone calling, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. Little Mouse climbed out of bed again. This time he looked under it. And then he looked in the closet, feeling very frightened, and he cried, Big Mouse, I think there's a ghost in the house, and it's looking for me, and it keeps calling, hoo, 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 hoo. Big Mouse sighed, and he sat up and listened. It's only an owl, he said. It's awake like you. Can I come into your bed, asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse, your paws are always cold. And Big Mouse pulled the blanket over his head and went back to sleep. Little Mouse got back into his own bed, and he lay and he listened to the wind huffing and puffing, the branch tap-tapping, and the owl hooting. But shh, what was that? Big Mouse, he called. I can hear a drip. It's drip-dripping. I think it's raining inside. And Little Mouse jumped out of his bed and fetched his umbrella. Big Mouse got out of bed too, and he opened the front door. Be quiet, wind, he said. Be quiet, branch, and be quiet, owl. But they didn't listen. Then Big Mouse went into the kitchen and turned off the dripping tap and put away the umbrella. Can I come into your bed, asked Little Mouse. No, you're nice and snug in your own bed, said Big Mouse, taking him back to his bedroom. Little Mouse lay listening to the wind huffing and puffing, the branch tap-tapping, and the owl hooting, and just as he was beginning to feel very sleepy, indeed, he heard, wee, 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 wee. Big Mouse, he called, you're snoring. Wearily, Big Mouse got up, and he put his earmuffs onto Little Mouse, and he put a paper clip on his nose, and he went back to sleep. Little Mouse lay listening to nothing. It was very, very, very quiet. He couldn't hear the wind huffing and the branch tap-tapping or an owl hooting or Big Mouse snoring. It was so quiet that Little Mouse felt like he was all alone in the world. He took off the earmuffs, he got out of bed and pulled the paper clip off Big Mouse's nose. Big Mouse, he cried, I'm lonely. Big Mouse flung back his blanket. Better come into my bed, he said. So Little Mouse hopped in and his paws were cold, and he needed just a little wiggle before he fell fast asleep. Big Mouse lay listening to the wind huffing, and the branch tap-tapping, and the owl hooting, and Little Mouse snuffling. And very soon he heard the birds waking up, but neither of them heard the alarm clock because they were both fast asleep. The end.